So let's talk about Jason and Nikki Wynn. You've probably heard of them. They're the couple who basically traded a totally normal life for a world of non-stop travel. Since 2011, these guys have been modern-day documentarians, chasing adventure, first on wheels and now on the water. So how'd they do it, and maybe more importantly, why?
This quote, "This is everything." It's the core of their whole philosophy. For the Wynns, normal was never the goal. It was just a setting on an appliance, when they decided to just turn off. And that single idea really sets the stage for their entire, pretty extraordinary journey.
You can kind of see the two paths laid out here. On one side, you've got the standard script, right? The mortgage, the 9 to 5, the 2 weeks of vacation a year. And then on the other side, you have the path they carved out for themselves: perpetual travel, total self-reliance, and just adventure. For them, this wasn't a small change. It was a complete and total break from the norm.
So, what does it really take to make a leap that big? Well, it all started with them chasing a very, very different kind of dream.
Now, to really understand the jump, you have to see what they were jumping from. Back in 2010, they were living in this huge 4,000 square foot loft in Dallas. Jason was a super successful photographer, and Nikki was a sought-after makeup artist. I mean, by any standard definition, they'd already made it. But, even with all that success, something just felt off. They were craving more nature, and they had this deep gut feeling that the whole typical life path, it just wasn't their dream. They wanted something more.
And that search for something more kicked off the first big chapter of their adventure, trading in all that stability for a life on four wheels. And they didn't waste any time. In 2010, they made the call. By 2011, boom, they were on the road in an RV. And for the next 5 years, they lived as full-time nomads, crisscrossing all over North America and completely changing what the word home even meant to them.
And when they decided to go, they went all in. This was not a gap year. They sold everything they owned, packed up their 2 cats, Singa and Cleo, and just drove away. The original plan was actually just to find a new city to settle down in.
But out there, on the road, they had this huge revelation. They realized their search for a new home was already over, because home didn't need to be a fixed address. Home was literally wherever they could park their RV. Freedom wasn't some destination, it was the journey itself.
But, okay, after 5 years of exploring by land, their curiosity started pulling them towards a brand new horizon. And this is the part of their story where the road ends and a way bigger challenge begins.
This was the big question they were facing. I mean, roads can only take you so far, right? So what do you do when your curiosity is telling you to go cross oceans?
Well, their answer was to trade wheels for keels. In 2016, they bought a 43-foot catamaran with, and this is the wildest part, absolutely zero sailing experience. None. They hired a captain for a 5-day crash course and then just set off. Over the next decade, they sailed halfway around the world.
Okay, so the question on everyone's mind. How is any of this possible? How do they actually fund a life of constant travel? Well, that brings us to the business of adventure.
Let's be really clear about this. What they do is not a vacation. It is a full-time job. They call themselves modern-day documentarians, and that work is what makes this whole lifestyle possible.
And it's an incredibly demanding job. As they've said themselves, everything on a boat just takes twice as long. From simple things like grocery runs to huge repairs in the middle of nowhere, the logistics are a constant challenge. It takes a ton of planning and effort. The key to funding all of this is diversification. They've built a whole media business with a bunch of different income streams. They do content production for other companies, they have their YouTube revenue, freelance writing gigs, affiliate marketing, and even direct support from their awesome audience.
And the scale of their success is, well, it's pretty impressive. Their YouTube channel, Gone with the Wynns, has over 700,000 subscribers. They've built this massive, super engaged community that follows every step of their journey.
But really, beyond all the travel and the business side of things, there's a much deeper philosophy at play here. They don't really measure their wealth in dollars. They measure it in a different kind of currency, the currency of curiosity.
So while their location is always changing, their mission stays exactly the same: to cultivate curiosity. For them, curiosity is that force that just pushes you out of your comfort zone, challenges what you think you know, and helps you totally embrace the unknown.
That mission is built on a few core values. The first one is self-reliance. Now, for them, this isn't about being isolated. It's about having the confidence to just figure things out as you go. It's about getting to that moment when being in a remote place stops feeling scary and starts feeling like pure freedom.
The second value is what they call inspiring encounters. They really believe that making a genuine connection with people and the places they visit is a commitment. It takes time, it takes effort, but those are the experiences that they treasure the most.
And finally, it all comes full circle, right back to curiosity. They see it as the absolute key to unlocking life. It's the engine that drives them, it's the compass that guides them, and it's the reason their journey just keeps unfolding in all these new and unexpected ways.
So in the end, their story isn't really just about sailing or RVs. It's a challenge to all of us, to our own ideas about what's possible. And that leaves us with a pretty big question. If you weren't bound by normal, where would your curiosity lead you?